Hello and welcome. My name is Matt Shear with PMA Practice Transitions, and I assist dental professionals in buying and selling their practices in Ohio and Western PA. And my colleague is?
I'm Joe Gordon. I do the same, and I do it in Indiana and Northern Kentucky.
And our topic today is?
Who are the MVPs in your practice?
I hate to say it, Joe, but it's not the doctor, is it?
No, generally it's not the doctor.
Right. We can rank them from top to bottom, right?
I think we're gonna have to caveat that the doctor can be the most valuable in being the leader of their team.
Absolutely true.
But the face of the practice generally is not the doctor.
That's right. It's the front desk.
It's the front
or
desk.
office manager / office manager.
Or person of first impressions. I've heard them called everything in the world. Somebody's got to come, every consultant has to come up with a new name for them. It's the receptionist, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. And when we go through transitions with the buyer and the seller, it's most important to keep the staff, obviously, but the most important is the front desk person, because think about it, when a patient walks in the door, the first person they talk to is the front desk person, right?
Exactly.
And guess what? When they leave, who's the last person they talk to?
Usually the front
desk person. And usually the front desk person knows the names of the kids and the grandkids and all that stuff.
Depending upon the size of town you're in.
Yes.
They may know their parents. They may have gone to school with them.
Absolutely.
They may know absolutely everything. It is a position that is very important in your practice. It's one that you can invest some money into.
Absolutely.
In terms of, is it worth paying somebody an extra, $1, $2 an hour to have somebody of good quality there, that you can also invest in, having consultants come in and work with them, making sure they have a script. I think scripting is very important when it comes to the practice in terms of consistency.
Yeah, and I think, especially in a transition, obviously the most, the important person to keep from a buyer standpoint would be the front desk person. Moving on, the second most valuable person in a dental practice is probably the hygienist. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I have a wonderful personal relationship with my hygienist. Polly, if you're watching this, I just know I talk about you all the time.
And you really have to think about, if you have somebody who has good oral health, right, and you don't have a lot of cavities or a lot of things that the dentist needs to do to you, who do you see twice a year?
I see Polly.
That's right. You see your hygienist. And you're having conversations with your hygienist. You're talking to your hygienist. A lot of times your hygienist knows about you, what you do for a living, things of that nature as well.
And the consistency in that is wonderful. Patients like that consistency. They want to see that same face there all the time.
Yeah.
Doing the dentistry, one, patients can't really talk to you,
right.
but they do talk to the hygienist,
right.
For the most part, and there's a lot of rapport that's built up there and a lot of trust, because I don't know about everybody, but when somebody starts sticking sharp pieces of metal in my mouth, I want to trust them.
Right.
And I like to have the same person do it.
Well, and speaking of sticking sharp objects in your mouth, if you have a good hygienist, what are they doing for the doctor? They're, generally speaking, coming up with treatment plans. They're looking at the perio side of the general dentistry and identifying perio issues. They're identifying cavities, things of that nature. So ultimately, the hygienist is then, giving business to the dentist.
We, hope to have them incentivized to do those things.
Right.
They're the ones that are the front line of selling. So those two positions are vastly important in practices. They are great to maintain consistency on a transition.
Absolutely.
And they can really make or break you in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And we're not saying that a dental assistant is important. Please don't take that message wrong. It's just we're saying that the front desk person and hygienist are probably the top two most important people in a transition, because they're the ones dealing with the patients on a regular basis, and they're the ones that can help transfer the goodwill for the seller.
Right. And there's been a number of instances in transitions where we have kept the receptionist, and the receptionist happened to be married to the dentist.
That's right. That's right.
And specifically asked that they stay on for a period of time so we could really transition all the patients. It was invaluable.
So we're going to wrap up with that. We appreciate you listening to this podcast of ours, and we hope you like it. If you do, please give the thumbs up, and certainly share this with your colleagues and friends.